Hi, 7th grade. Welcome back. This video will be shorter because you will be doing some questions in Google Classroom that are going to require you to look at some of these sources that I'm going to go over in a second. You do have a quiz on Wednesday, tomorrow, that's going to cover Renaissance and also context clues. We're going to go over the exit ticket now, and then we'll go over some of the sources. They're going to be primary sources. And then finally, I'll go over some of the topics that are going to be covered in the assessment on Wednesday. So let's go over this exit ticket. This is, I think, the fourth or fifth time that I give you guys this, maybe fourth, that I give you the map of where the Renaissance started. The Renaissance started in Italy again, number 5. Some students are still selecting the wrong answer on that. I'm confused by that. Which of the following is not true about the Renaissance? So which of these is not true? By the way, 89 students have taken it so far. That's pretty good, but I am going for at least 100. So which of these is not true? So the one that's not true is life completely changed for the vast majority of Europeans. That means that most Europeans did not feel the Renaissance happening at the time of their life, right? Everything else is true. Heavily influenced by classical period, founded by wealth by trade. All those are true except the last one. The Renaissance was a blend and combination of classical period. That is true. This is the second time I have this question on here. That question will appear on your assessment. It'll be obviously worded differently. Which of the following is most likely a secular work? So let's go over this. So this one says, which of these is a secular work? In order to do this question right, you need to know what secular means. Secular means non-religious. So which of these is not religious? So it's not A because that's Jesus, right? That's a religious piece. It's not B because that's Jesus. It is not D because that's King David, that he appears in the Old Testament. He is King David. He's a prophet. He is a big part of the Bible. So the answer is C because this is not a religious piece. This is the study of the human body by Leonardo da Vinci, and it is a secular piece. So let's go on to the next questions. Okay, next one. From the News Daily article, read the second paragraph in the article. Which option is best definition of backward? Now, some students thought that backwards was in reverse, and usually that's what it means, right? When you're going backwards, you're going in reverse. But in this case, the context is something that is old, outdated, something that it should be kind of like disregarded, right? Literally, the word backwards does mean reverse. When you put your car in, when you're going backwards in your bicycle, your bike, you're going in reverse. But in this case, it just means outdated. The Middle Ages were outdated. From the New Zealand article, someone that flaunts their wealth. Flaunt means that they were proud of their wealth. This is a pretty good answer. Pretty good percentage of students that got it right. From the New Zealand article, again, this is the article that I read in class. Okay, the Italian Renaissance in context. Which phrase from the selection best helps the reader understand the meaning of patron? A patron is not someone that shows off their money. It's not rich people necessarily. It's someone that pays for artists and thinkers. And then I'm gonna look at this one. A lot of you guys got a good question, good answers on those. Let's look at some of these passages. So here it says, Bobby Fischer thought, though, did not seem to enjoy the fame. He stopped seeing, this is the context clue here. He stopped seeing his friends, choosing instead to live as a recluse. So when you don't see your friends, that means that you tend to avoid someone. You tend to be a recluse. You tend to try to keep to yourself. So the answer to that was A, a person who lives alone and avoids other people. Which of the following is a context clue to determine the meaning of the word recluse? He stopped seeing his friends. Now, gold is malleable. And here they tell you what malleable is. It can mold into many forms. So maybe the issue here is you do not know what the word mold means. Mold means shape. So malleable means it can easily be shaped into different things. And that's what the correct answer was. Easily shaped. Okay. By the way, I'm going to be posting a Quizlet link for you guys to join. You will need it for the next part of this unit. You can use it to study as well for this assessments, but some of the words are not going to be relevant because we are not going to talk about them until the next part of this unit. Okay, so you'll have this image in Google Classroom, and I'm going to have you explain like the metaphors, like the connections of each of one of these. So think of the Renaissance as a plant, right? Think of the Renaissance is not a plant, but this is like a metaphor. Think of the Renaissance as a plant. The plant is made up of roots. It has roots, right? The main root is the classical roots because it is a very important root, right? The classical root is a very important root. It gives life to this plant, to the Renaissance. The medieval is also found here. Medieval is the smaller roots. That is because the medieval period impacted the Renaissance. Okay, if you cut these medieval roots off, the plant might survive, but it would look different. It might have a different flower, a different fruit, whatever. Okay, so the medieval period and the classical period are the roots, what gives birth to the Renaissance. Europe is the dirt, it's the location of the Renaissance. We have the growth of city states. I'm guessing that's fertilizer. It's not seeds, right? It's not seeds. I'm guessing it's fertilizer because it helps the plants grow. It helps the plant develop. Travel and commerce is water. It's also something that the plant needs for survival, right? And the big one here is humanism. Humanism has multiple things here, right? Humanism is the light. Humanism is the knowledge, right? Without the sun, the plant wouldn't survive, right? Without travel and commerce, the plant might not survive. So what I want you to get out of this is that the plant is made up of many different aspects, many different things. And if you cut one thing, it might survive. If you cut the medieval period root, it might survive, right? But if you cut humanism, it will completely die. The Renaissance is made up of all these aspects. And then the flowers are the arts, learning, science. Those are the things that blossom out of the Renaissance. So all these things come together to create this beautiful, amazing plants. Now, another point is that many Europeans did not benefit from these flowers, right? Many Europeans did not benefit from the blossom of this beautiful flower or the fruits of this flower. Just keep that in mind. I'm gonna go over these pretty quickly. So these are primary sources. Why are they primary sources? Because they come from that period. Okay, here we go. This excerpt comes from Baltasare Castiglione in the Courier. Baltasare describes a type of talented person who will later be described as a Renaissance man. So this is someone that they would value, right? And later, you'll see that Da Vinci is considered a Renaissance man. He says, let the man we are looking for be very brave, firm, and always among the first where the enemy are to be seen, so brave. Otherwise, let him be gentle, modest, reserved, above all things, avoid showing off with praise. So here this person is talking about two different things. When it's required, this person should be brave, always be the first one to be seen when there's trouble. Otherwise, when he doesn't have to do that, he needs to be gentle, modest, reserved, and above all other things, avoid showing off with self-praise. He should be talented in literature, at least in those studies that are called the humanities, and be able to speak and read not only Latin, but also Greek, because so many different topics have been well written in these languages. Let him be familiar in the poets, speakers, and historians, and also be capable of writing history. So a Renaissance man is a person that has many skills. Okay. Today, people might think that that there are Renaissance people today, but it's hard. Like, for example, the founder of Tesla, Steve Jobs, one of the founders of Apple. So I'll let you think about that. Some of these questions will appear in Google Classroom, but not all of them. Okay. I'm not gonna focus so much on this topic, but this one I will. Okay. Excerpt from William Shakespeare's Hamlet. Okay. This one's really important. This one's gonna appear in classroom. He says, "What a piece of work is a man! How honorable in purpose! How endless in abilities, both in mental and physical and movement! In action, like an angel, and understanding how like a god, the beauty of the world, the model of animals." So think of how this applies to humanism, right? In the Middle Ages, the most important thing was religion. Individuality was not important. And this is the total opposite. This is describing what a person can be or is: honorable, endless abilities, mental and physical, like a god here on earth. Like people should be celebrated here on earth. Okay, this comes from a play from William Shakespeare. Another topic with this will appear in our next unit is that Shakespeare wrote in English, and more people were able to read English at this time, right? And English was the vernacular. If he had written his plays in Latin, more people would not have been able to access them. Another thing about Shakespeare is that he wrote plays that were published more easily because of the invention of the printing press. This one's a big one. Please pay attention, close attention to this one. This is from Petrarch's Secrets. It was translated in 1911. This is a primary source. It was translated from Italian, probably. This comes, I believe, from the 14 or 1500s, but it was translated into English in 1911. So, this is what he's saying. Please pay close attention. He says, "My belief is that, concerning the glory of heaven, from which we may hope here on earth." So he says, you know what? Most of us want to go to heaven. It is right for us to seek it while we are here on earth. It's okay if you want to go to heaven. He says it's okay to pray. It's okay to want to go to heaven. One may expect to enjoy the glory in heaven when we get there. So when we get to heaven, we'll be happy there, right? We're going to be okay. We're going to enjoy heaven. When we arrive in heaven, when we get there, we will not care about being on earth. So when we get to heaven, we're not going to care about being on earth anymore. And this is the big one. Therefore, I think it is correct that people should first care for mortal things. Therefore, I think that it is correct that mortal men should first care for mortal things. This is important, right? He says, in essence, he says, enjoy life. Enjoy the beauty of living here on earth. Because once you are gone, you are gone, right? So while you are here on earth, enjoy your life. That is humanism. Enjoying life here on earth. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about these couple topics. For the assessment, you will need to know where the Renaissance started, when the Renaissance started, where did it start, how is it different from the Middle Ages, how is it similar to the Middle Ages, what was the role of the Medici family, what is humanism, and how is this different from the ideas of the Middle Ages. And you also need to understand these. How did the Crusades, the fall of the Byzantine Empire, and Marco Polo impact the development of the Renaissance? Okay, so please review these for your test on Wednesday. Let me go over some of the context clues. Okay, your quiz will look something like this, by the way. Although plants don't talk, they do communicate with each other by sending messages. For example, scientists have found that some trees can communicate to share resources like water. Interesting, how would they do that? They do this by sending messages through an underground network. A certain kind of fungus connects all the trees in the forest together. Kind of reminds you of that movie Avatar. Forming a large network. Scientists believe this information sharing web may allow larger, older trees to help younger trees survive. This improves the health of the entire forest. The details of how this communication works are still obscure. Right? So the word here is obscure. So it says the details of how the communication works are still obscure. So here's the context clue. Further research is needed to better understand the process. That means that we don't really understand it, right? This This improves the health of the entire forest. The details of how the communication work are still obscure. So if it's clear, then that means that why would we need further research, right? Highly. So if let's say we include highly unusual, the details of how the communication work are still obscure are highly unusual. So further, that doesn't make sense, right? The answer is not clearly understood because obviously we still need to research how the process is understood. And sometimes you might be able to figure out the word obscure if you know a different language, obscuro in Spanish. Here's another one. In the northeastern United States and Canada, the year 1816 brought unusually cold conditions. A June snowstorm dumped a foot of snow in some areas. In July and August, temperatures fell below freezing. Crops froze and many people went hungry. Normal summer conditions never occurred. For years, scientists were baffled. So what is the word when you're baffled? What does that mean, right? For years, something happened to scientists for years about what's happened. And then they give you something else, the opposite. Now, however, they believe the cause was volcanic dust. So first they were baffled, and now they're not. So what does baffled means? Baffled means puzzled, confused. For years they were confused. Now they are not confused. Now they say, however, they believe that the cause was volcanic dust in the atmosphere. The previous year, I'm not going to continue reading that, but in this case, let's put puzzled in there. For years, scientists were puzzled or confused about what's happened. Now, however, they believe that the cause. So first they were confused, now they're not. Okay. Next one. In 1860, the Pony Express was started. It was created to meet demands for faster mail service between California and the eastern states. Pony Express riders carry their bags of mail long miles over rugged western trails. During their routes, the riders faced many dangers. For example, many riders told stories about encounters with wild animals and robbers. Despite these dangers, Pony Express riders were known to be very fast. They were able to carry words of Abraham Lincoln's election as a president from Nebraska to California in just 5 days. Election as president, sorry. In less than 2 years, the Pony Express became obsolete. So something happened to the Pony Express. Because of this, once the telegraph was invented, there was no need for the Pony Express. So what does it mean when something is not needed anymore? Okay. The answer is this one. Replaced with something new. Something is not needed anymore. It was replaced by the telegraph. Okay. And this is the last one. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the largest of the ancient Egyptian pyramids. When completed around 2560 BCE, it stood 481 feet high, as tall as a modern-day 44-story building. The Great Pyramid was the world's tallest building. Where was I? Building for more than 3,000 years. More than 2 million huge stone blocks were used to construct it. The builders of the pyramid positioned it meticulously so that it perfectly faced the true north. So when something is meticulously done, they did it perfectly. Scientists aren't sure how the ancient Egyptians knew how to place the base. Experts also disagree about how these huge blocks were moved into place. They don't even fully understand the design of the inside of the pyramid. More work must be done to solve these mysteries. So when something is meticulously done, right, it can't be done in a great hurry, because you don't do things that are perfectly in a great hurry. Happily without hesitation, right? You don't do it in a great hurry. You don't do it with many people pushing. You do it carefully. Pay close attention to detail. Okay, this is the end of this video. On Wednesday, you take your quiz. On Thursday, I'm gonna give you a list of works that you will need to know, and they are artworks, sculptures, and they are buildings. I will give you the link to quizzes so that you're able to begin practicing with them, because you are going to require a lot of work on them. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll see you guys later.